Hey, what's up guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Gemstone Legends. So the latest patch for the game, 0.49, was out sometime in June, actually about a month and a half ago. I didn't get a chance to do a full review of it, and there was a lot of changes and quite a few really positive changes. And if you wanted to see more about the changes, the patch notes are available in their official Discord server and also on a Reddit post as well as Google Docs. I can send I'll have the links to these so that you can take a look if you want to. But what I wanted to cover today actually is that amongst all of the changes, one of them did have a lot of problems and a lot of pushback from the player base. And that is the changes to the dragon with the introduction of Dragon Cave. So what I want to do in today's video is actually just kind of go over sort of the issues that were raised, why it is an issue, why it's still an issue, and what are some of the things that we think we could potentially do about it. So if you take a look at the dragons here, you'll see that I have my Vermin leveled up next, and then Haran, followed by Skyron, and then Nagash and Bastard is essentially not leveled. I really just put in them, the 1-star items in them because I had a ton of them left over, but I'm really not using Nagash anymore. So if you take a look at the change here, all dragons after the the patch now deal true damage. No matter which dragon you use, whether it's Vermin or Nagash, they all deal true damage. And the problem here is Nagash didn't used to deal any damage at all. He was the only dragon that dealt no damage and only provided heal. So what this meant was this dragon was the perfect accompaniment to heroes that do sleep statuses. And what that means is any heroes that, so let's take a look, I'll show you. So Inula, for example, her power is sleep. And if you take a look at what the sleep status is, and I'll show you also how you can search for these things. If you go to the library, if you ever have a question on what a particular item or status means, you can go to the library and then you can go into the heroes. And under heroes, there is the statuses tab. And if you wanted to understand more about statuses, just click on it. And then this is a red one because it's a negative stat. Okay, so that you can take a look and you can see sleep. And it says can't perform any action until attacked. That means when you are put to sleep, as long as you don't get attacked, you do not wake up and you can't do anything. And so the fact that Nagash now attacks means that, well, you now attack the enemies when you put them to sleep, so they'll wake up. So the thing is, before, when you used to have a sleep hero, the way it works is you put Nagash as a dragon. In fact, we all tell people don't use any other dragon except for Nagash, because what you want to do is you want to put your enemies to sleep, and then you bring in a single damage dealer to attack, and then you keep the rest of the enemies asleep. With this change, that doesn't work anymore. And where this has the biggest impact is actually going to be in wars, more so than in arena. Okay, but in guild wars, a lot of players, because we have the rare camps, a lot of the players have invested a lot of time, you can see, and updated Inula to 6 stars because she's one of the best rare heroes for that purpose. In fact, I actually had made a video a while ago about Inula and talking about why she's so good, and that is mostly because of her sleep status. Now, it's okay if you are using her as an attack team because you can play on your own and you can still manage it a little bit. But the problem is when you put her in defense, for example, in the guild wars, it's the AI that takes care of it, and the way AI works, it just does not. It always triggers, so it doesn't really help at all. In fact, I'm going to cut to a video where I'm going to show you how it works in a fight, so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to quickly explain how a typical setup is done using Inula and why having Nagash dealing damage is bad for defense. Okay, so even though I'm playing offense, I'm going to show you what it's like when you are the defense, when defense is actually playing. Remember, when you play defense and someone's attacking you, it is the computer, it's the AI that's going to be controlling the way it works. So how this is going to work is everything is going to be triggered from left to right, and then the dragon will go last. So what's going to happen is Inula is going to cast her sleep, and then you go from left to right, everyone's going to activate their skill, and then you're going to have usually a single damage dealer at the end, And in this case, it's Odile. It could be anyone else. And we're going to go ahead and deal damage here. So we do defeat them. And you would actually have 2 more heroes that are asleep here. Typically, sometimes if you don't defeat the enemy, you will continue attacking them until they die. But then what happens here is as soon as you activate the green dragon, now they are no longer asleep. So this is actually more of an issue where this actually gets rid of the sleep status and they can immediately go on their next turn. Whereas before, what would happen is Nagash would go and then everybody will get some healing, and then they're able to continue to deal damage to other enemies while the ones that are asleep cannot do anything. That was the real sort of power of Inula and other sleep enemies or heroes in defense. With this change, they're now effectively, really, I would say, useless. In fact, I think I heard a lot of people say that it's just no longer useful anymore. So that is the reason why having Nagash dealing damage is such a problem for heroes like Inula. All right, so you can see now why it's a problem. If you're playing defense, you're using Inula. And so that is a big chunk of teams that people have invested for their guild wars that are essentially useless now. So what are some of the suggestions that have been made, based on this change? Because people were not happy. They felt that their investment for their player, for their hero has really gone to waste, and it's a big chunk of investments done. They had to rechange their defense, and more than that, it's a whole section of hero types that is now much less useful. So one of the suggestions was, instead of having the dragon attack after all of the heroes have activated, just simply let the dragon attack first. So what this does is you do the attack and then allow Inula to do the sleep, and then they can sort of carry on as usual. So that would prevent the sleep from getting negated. The other option was to simply say, forget about damage on Nagash. It is a special dragon that is focused on healing. Let it do a job. Maybe increase the heal. Let it heal more. Maybe have more statuses that you can provide. Something to make it stand out, but you don't need to make it be a damaging based hero. So those were the 2 options that players have recommended, neither of which have been taken. As you can see, it is still a damaging hero, and so damaging dragon. And so this continues to still be sort of an ongoing issue for a lot of players. I think I hear a little bit less about it now, but it's still a problem, right? It's still a problem. If you talk to anyone who has upgraded or evolved Inula or Hanya, it's just a little bit of a sore point at this point, right? I wouldn't say a little. I think it's a big sore point for a lot of people still. And so, the suggestions I think are both very reasonable, right? I personally think that having the Nagash simply just stay as a healing dragon instead of changing the order in which the dragon activates, I think that's a direction that I personally would like to see. Because there's the opportunity, since we're reworking the dragons, you don't always have to keep them being a damaging dragon. You could have one that does something a little bit different. In this case, Nagash, I think, has the opportunity to be more of a healing dragon and has more. Like, we want to incentivize why you want to use a different dragon rather than like Vermin or Haran. Because I don't see many people using anything else right now. Bastet is also one that needs a little bit of improvement, and Nagash desperately needs a change. Because if you take a look at the usage pattern, I don't have the numbers, but I would guess that Nagash is probably one of the least used dragons at this point. And so, in the interest of making it seem interesting and also to not nerf an entire style of heroes, I think it's important that we do take a look at this and, see where we could make improvements here so that it could actually be enjoyable for people to play again. Right now, I think it is a problem. Like you can see, I don't use Nagash anymore. I just don't feel that the changes that are in there is incentivizing enough for me to actually use it. I use Vermin and Haron exclusively right now, and I feel like that's been enough. And I'm not sure that's the intent. We want to encourage different types of use of dragons. And I think that this is one of those areas where, removing that limitation to say every dragon must deal damage is, I think, a fair ask. I'm not sure that it is going to be implemented. I'm not sure that that it will be changed. But I think that it's good to have this conversation just to kind of, you know, bring out, right? Let's talk about this. I know that this is a little bit of an older news now, but I'm hoping that I can bring more of these forward in the future also. So I'm going to keep this video as short as I could. I know that it's a little bit long already. So I'm going to stop here. I just wanted to explain why Nagash is my least used dragon right now and why it's a problem for Inula. There are other issues that I would like to bring forward as well. So if you have any, you know, specific topics that you think would be good to talk about, please feel free to let me know. And I don't want to make this like exclusively all I do for my videos, though. I do enjoy making videos about like how I can help people build their heroes, use their heroes. How do we actually beat the game? That's actually what I'm most interested in. But I do think that this is an important topic to discuss. And so I'm making a video about this one right now. Anyways, that's going to be all from me for today. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.